Hey, good morning. Welcome. Thunderous Thursday, lunar eclipse tomorrow, full moon lunar eclipse tomorrow, Friday, March 14th, and it's in Virgo. The Virgo Pisces axis, as all full moons, represent oppositions, and oppositions is an ego binary thing. Virgo and Pisces are complementary energies. I analyze Virgo, I discern what's good. It's the intestinal tract. So what you keep and what you get rid of. And Pisces is I believe. I believe in multiple dimensions. I believe in fairies and undines and gnomes and angels. But there's an unspoken. I mean, you know the Tao Te Ching, one of the first lines. The Tao that can speak itself is not really the Tao. So the way. So eclipses happen in 19-year cycles. So you can easily go back to 2006, June, to about April of 2008. And that the Pisces Virgo axis, North Node in Pisces. So we're moving into the forgiveness, the end of an era, the Pisces age. And so I'm going to talk about all of this. So we can go back to 2006 and 7, and then we can also go back to 87 December until about May of 89. And so for those of us who have a little bit of time on us, can look back and see what themes of self-forgiveness and belief in a larger multidimensional world. Because let me put this at you before we get into the Virgo Pisces, and then I'm going to do each axis because I want people to really get the fact that you cannot understand one side of the axis without understanding the one that sits as far away from the cosmos or in the galaxy as possible. So, Virgo Pisces, Libra Aries, Scorpio, Taurus, Sagittarius, Gemini, and Capricorn, Cancer, and last and certainly not least, Leo, Aquarius. So let's get to the meat of this lunar eclipse, right? First of all, when you look on the chart, what we have going on is the aspect of this happening in Kansas City across the third and ninth houses of narrative and storytelling based on facts. The ninth house is based on the belief of the larger picture, or what I sometimes call the saturation or the fish story. That fish keeps getting bigger and bigger, right? But anyway, the point of this eclipse with the moon and the south node, which is what that means in Virgo, is how do we analyze? And from a Virgo perspective, what that means is looking at the ways in which you've been, Mary had a little lamb. So you get this pure ideal, Virgo, of how you're supposed to serve and become that gala guy Friday, i.e., indispensable. And you can easily lose your sense of self in the service. You're not a perfectionist per se. That's the air signs of Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius. Your need, when it's exaggerated, is in the process of self improvement, which makes you an easy hook, Virgo, for guilt or shame or overgiving. So use that extremely active mind given to you by Thoth Mercury, right? To discern when to give or to negotiate how much you are going to give. Now, with Mercury about to go retrograde in Aries, backing up into Pisces, and Venus is already retrograde in Aries, going back into Pisces, innocence is key, Virgo. There's no original sin. There's nothing that you missed the mark on. It's just deconstructing the mistaken beliefs. Hello, your complementary sign of Pisces, I believe, going across the galaxy, reaching across the aisle, if we want to use a political illusion, to the Pisces that just seems to flow and be in the way, the Tao, puns intended. And so, Virgo, when you lean into the North Node in Pisces, the North Node conjunct Neptune on one side and Saturn on the other, you can clearly map out methodical steps, not hoping, but trusting the process in your own forgiveness of self betrayal. Yes, and Pisces with the North Node in your sign, basically for the next year and a half or so until we get into 2026, all eyes are on you. Certainly this month until Neptune moves into Aries on March 30th, you're here to show us through being a role model what it means to have full on self acceptance. And I'm not talking about tolerating dysfunction or tolerating bad traits, but actually openly and transparently. NSA, no strings attached, begins not having strings within your own heart regarding conditional giving or conditional love. You do best when you just surrender and you sacrifice yourself consciously, Pisces. And so that's how you teach us. Remember, the Tao that speaks itself is not really the Tao. So show yourself through listening, through acceptance of your flaws, and then you will emanate this energy that people will just be drawn to you, much like we all are fish living in the ocean. And as we move from the Pisces age into the Aquarius age, we have an incredible symbol of majesty of how we're all one. It's called the internet. And so that place of openness and transparency, yes, it brings in the scammers. Yes, it brings in the negative. Yes, it does all of that. But it's based on the artificial intelligence as we move more into Web3. But it's the authentic intelligence that we all have based on our sun signs. So it's important that as we move and return to innocence, because Pisces, your innocence is after you've been betrayed, which brings us into the Libra Aries innocence. Now, Libra, you already have one of your rulers, major rulers, Venus, in retrograde since March 1st until April 12th. So you've been since February, maybe even a little bit earlier, been in this evaluation of, do you still love me? And that's really talking about, do you really love and accept yourself? Since last June of 2024, we've been in an evening star Gemini phase, which means we could easily be saying yes, overlooking and denying some really problematic behaviors, or going along to get along, or agreeing to disagree, instead of being authentically bound, Libra, to one's authentic intelligence. One scale is the heart, the other scale is the mind. Or let me say it differently. One scale is the soul. What's in our best interest? What's in our evolutionary purpose and direction? And then what is the ego or the Olak, as Seth says? Yes, the point of power is in the present moment. Seth Jane Roberts, the Olak, the original lock of consciousness. If you're Christian, it could be original sin. But as Venus is retrograde hovering with Neptune and Saturn, Libra, 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 your equilibrium is, it is beautiful when you pause and breathe in the green, in the heart chakra, and give yourself the space to make those decisions. And that brings us to beautiful, fiery Aries. And with Mars just coming out of retrograde on February 23rd, you've probably spent the last almost 6 months, Aries, like watching your feet while you dance, and not having the level of confidence that you normally do. Or you've been pausing, taking a page out of your complementary sign of Libra and saying, yeah, I'm ready to move on, but I'm going to move on with care. Or like Libra and Gwyneth Paltrow did with Coldplay dude, whatever Chris Martin, I don't remember his name, but Coldplay guy, when she used the phrase conscious uncoupling. So, yes, it could be in terms of your interpersonal relationships, Aries, but the conscious uncoupling is where you consciously uncouple ego, that impatience that you have, with soul, really empathizing, not just sitting with a person and their feelings. You actually feel their feelings or at least observe their energy and walk in their shoes for a while. I'm reminded of that Footprints, where it was two sets and then one set, and the Christ consciousness carried, and Baba's out there trying to come in, so he's just gonna have to wait. Uh, that's my cat, and he's an indoor outdoor. But anyway, so Aries, just know that as Mars moves out of his shadow around May 1st, 2nd, you can feel this sense of confidence coming back. The Venus retrograde is you're pausing and allowing space within your relationships. Just don't do any ultimatums, okay, Aries, please. Those are not pretty on any level. Then we go to Scorpio Taurus. All right, so the Scorpio Taurus energy is about I have, I desire. Well, Scorpio's I desire. And if you desire something, Scorpio, you're admitting, at least to yourself, hopefully, you're admitting to yourself that you don't have something. What do you own? What are you offering? What are you giving freely? Not in that fake ass charm that you know how you can do. That specific watering of someone like Virgo, you can do that indispensability act, and it's an act. Trust. And to glean or to extract other people's resources. So with Uranus in your sign of Taurus, your complementary sign, you've been in a 6-year track of moving value, moving your understanding of what are artificial changes versus what are true transformative energies. And that's where Taurus comes in. With Uranus, Mr. Disruptor, being in the I have and I have security as I look at my bank balance or my IRAs or whatever, Taurus comes to understand that grace of true value is the simplicity and the quintessential integration of the outer and inner worlds. And with Neptune, moving into Aries on March 30th, Taurus, you feel, and Venus in retrograde, you feel this sense of reevaluating what really matters to you. And so if there's been some disruption around, being able to feel grounded, some of that is for you to look within first and not project your ego values onto others. A little bit of acceptance goes a hell of a long way. And then we go to I believe, that's Pisces, but I see the possibility Sagittarius, both ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter plus Oprah, and Gemini. I think, therefore I am. Well, I have a secret feeling about Geminis that when you have one of your big three, sun, moon, or rising in Gemini, or if you're born the year of the rat or the hour of the rat, which is from 11:59 p.m. to 1 a.m., born as that we go from shift to days, that Virgo, Mercury, Gemini energy is just the older soul part of you that's making best efforts to integrate the young, eternal soul with the old soul person, right? The young whippersnapper, the jack of all trades. But the old soul says, oh no, I'm mastering some of these. So how does that fit into with Sagittarius? Well, Virgo and Pisces are two of your most challenging signs. So when we look at the fact that in Kansas City, we at least have Sag rising, so you get to show up with this kind of bon vivant, I got the answers, even when internally you don't really feel that you do. But as long as you realize, Sag, that your ruler Jupiter is finishing his track through Gemini, again, the sign that's as far away from you as possible, and the Jupiter energy will shift in mid June. As long as you are speaking from integrity. And remember, 19 years ago, let's look at what was going on in '06 and '07. And where did you falter in terms of your maturity? Where what a wish is just a lie is just a wish that you hope come true. I think I got that from Deadpool or Wolverine. But Sag, come on, you can be loose with the facts of the truth, but not necessarily the emotional intent behind the truth, which brings us up to the Gemini, love thy neighbor, the twins, the first mental sign as the third sign of the circle of animals. And Gemini, with your ruler about to go retrograde, it's important that you recognize that you are in the catbird seat. You're the Cheshire cat. If we're going to use that Alice in Wonderland uh, illusion. And that's why that smile, that ability to just find that silence is indeed golden. That what is that saying? It's better not to open your mouth and confirm that you're a little bit stupid. Mm. But ignorance, pillar 4 in our raw material. Check it out, our raw material. Because what you don't know means that you're accessing your inner wisdom. I mean, I had this great server, oh God, a couple, 3 days ago, and her name was Camilla. And I went to, no, her name was Camille, and I didn't go to, the Princess Charles woman or wife, I think. I said, "Oh, isn't that a flower?" And she said, "I was the first person that ever did that." Oh, my mother and I got great service. And so Gemini, just you're dropping those kernel of truths or just being able to ask the right question at the correct time. Provissimo. And with your ruler Mercury about to go retrograde on March 15th, it's important, Gemini, that you understand that pausing and asking someone, well, do you want to know what I think? Just by taking a beat and giving the other person the agency that you're about to drop some observational wisdom, that's all. Because it's important, Gemini, that you don't have one twin constantly replaying where you fucked up or where there's a lot of self blame. Because remember, North Node in Pisces is about ultimate forgiveness and absolute love. And like charity, it begins at home. And so then we go to the responsibility axis of Cancer, Capricorn, Cancer, because I want to keep it going, going Virgo, Libra. So that's why I'm doing it this way. Well, there's a number of reasons, but get with it. And so the responsibility axis of I use, I utilize, and we feel, we are not abused, so we're going to create a law. That's Capricorn. And then Cancer is I feel. And I'm going to love my baby no matter what. I don't care what my baby did. I want my baby to know that I love them no matter what. That's Cancer. So this axis with Capricorn and Saturn, that main ruler, the teacher, that English teacher that used to give you a B minus or B plus when he or she knew that you were writing the stuff right off the cuff, that's Saturn. So Saturn is spending his last days for right now in Pisces, along with Neptune, and he will move into Aries, new beginnings around structure and government and the rules and the law, right? So Saturn moves into that Aries on May 24th at the beginning of Gemini. So we're all feeling, particularly Capricorns, is a return to innocence, a return to alleviating that superego that Freud talked about, or the collective ego, or that rabbit hole internet stuff that you do, Capricorn, that you jump into something and you just keep looking for the negative, even when there might not be any. And that's why I differentiate specifically for you the difference between, hope and trust. Hope has a seed of doubt. So if there is some hope and some doubt, inquire. Just like I told the Geminis, inquire. Just ask, hey, I've been observing you for the last 6 weeks or so, or whatever. Do you want my opinion? And if a person says, no, motherfucker, I don't want your opinion, or if they say yes, or if they're silent, you say, may I take your silence as acquiescence or yes? And you're fine about it because you're not here to be responsible for everyone's relationship. Compassion, like charity, begins at home. It's the inner world, the inner space, which brings us to just, oh God, I love me some Cancer energy because they're my ethicists. As a Scorpio, Cancer is the water sign that I can run things by. And when they're not adding their own issues, because they can be just as narcissistic and wounded narcissistically as any Leo, even more so because they're water, so you may not see it. But when that's set aside, because usually they have some air or they just have some major love for me and for the Scorpio, then oh God, bravissima, right? They're just beautiful individuals. But this lunar eclipse, understand the Cancer energy with the Virgo Pisces eclipse energy can be really beleaguered, taking on too much, it's like the little scorpion that has the 20 babies that she has on her tail for the 20 days or whatever. But there's an aspect where the mothering, the nurturing, and I don't really give a flying fuck what's going on underneath the, in your private parts. It's a nurturing energy, a pausing, a caretaker energy, sort of like we're all lost in space, or like, oh, there's a little bit of a gnat. See how the universe works? Or Star Trek Voyager, that caretaker energy. And so, Cancer, this eclipse, go back 19 years to 0607, or go back 38 years to 87 and 80, 88 and 89, and look to where you made certain decisions that you may still be replaying to this day. And know that with Jupiter about to go into your sign in mid-June, stop. The love you save may be your own, or giving freely. You get a car, you get an education, young Kenyan girl. Act like the Oprah in your own life. How would you give if you were connected to the source of all prosperity? What would you give? And would there be any strings attached or expectation of getting a return from those to whom you've given? Oh, yeah, that's a lot. That one got me, boo boos. Yeah, I feel Cancer, and then I create Scorpio, yeah, and then I believe Pisces. So know that as we move out of this water earth energy, and when I say water earth, I'm talking about Neptune in Pisces generationally since 2012, going into Aries. Saturn, the last couple of years being in Pisces, I believe watery Pisces, and then Uranus being in Taurus, moving into Gemini, moving value, moving thought, speeding up how we share our words, our technology, etc. in July 7th. So we're going to move from this, ooh, let's consolidate, let's hold them, that proverbial wrong half truth, bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. There might be more in the bush. Hello. Point is that as we shift, these energies shift, our generational holistic focus shifts as well. So, Cancer, you could be on the vanguard of being this mutant leader, basically from behind. That's really important. And then, last but not least, is the Aquarius Leo. I will, Leo, Aquarius. I know, or we will, because Aquarius takes the legislation and the governmental stuff of Capricorn and then distributes the resources through programs or through, celebrity like Diana, Princess Diana, when she held that AIDS baby in 1984, 83. Oh, God, that was a shift in terms of, our mystical images around, power and hierarchy. And Neptune was in Capricorn around that time. So it was the dissolving or the use of images in order to project meaningful messages. Or the other side of Neptune is the con artist. So, you that are born 1984 to about 1997 to 98, you can have this illusion of fame that is also Aquarian, right? And so this lunar eclipse for Aquarius, Virgo is a number one of the human signs. So you can have the big picture, big brain Aquarius, and Virgo is like, well, how would you process that? How would you methodically make that work? Star child. Like we love to say we're not alone in the universe, but what does that mean practically? If I were an alien from somewhere else, why would I say it? You can't get along with, your own people under the same American, red and blue. We don't even know what purple is, right? And so there is this aspect of an alien observing, because I know I would observe before I said, hey, I'm from Andromeda or Kirami or wherever. I'm like, oh no, that's not going to happen. And so Aquarius, you can feel like, where do I belong? Be your own longing. Look for that inside. Instead of fitting into the outer world, take a page out of authentic intelligence, Leo, the heart. Leo don't give a fuck about appearances. Leo is all about, yeah, I know. I'm gonna say that again. For those of you who think that Leo is all about appearances, Leo's about the heart, the grace and the simplicity and the authenticity behind what they're projecting. Very different. Feel that. Because we got artificial intelligence everywhere. Fuck. We carry artificial intelligence in our own hands. So it's more incumbent upon us to breathe, to pause, to say, well, what does my heart say? Can I explain this or say what I'm saying to an 8-year-old? Or tain't nobody's business if I do, you know, that blues joint, where we look at, you know, do we share transparently? And last but not least is definitely the Leo energy. And Virgo Pisces is a humbling axis for you, Leo, because even when you're projecting arrogance or excessive pride in yourself at the expense of other people, you know that ain't really you. You know that's where you shifted more into leaning into the narcissistic, sociopathic energy of Aquarius, trying to be all things to all people in all groups at all times, and nothing to your goddamn self, Leo. So you're here to teach us how to be true to oneself, or all the world's a stage. All of those sayings that talk about being true to oneself, because that's one of the reasons why we love you no matter what, because we know that even if we don't like what falls out of your mouth, like the Sagittarius or even the Aries, we pretty much know that there's a diplomacy or a king, queen, and you're part of my court. And I love and appreciate your loyalty and my loyalty to my inner truth about your behaviors that I've observed humbly, because we're still in Virgo Pisces, eclipse season. Then that's how you rule us, Leo. That's how you're able to glean a level of appreciation no matter what. Subscribe. Belief is not required. Belief is not required. I'll probably be writing more on this on the site. Our raw material, go to that channel as well. Tavish drops some major knowledge and wisdom. And then, you know, Instagram, I mean, I'm working with these people. And let me know what you thought. Peace. And I appreciate your support for sure.